All right. Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, families of the Family Wellness Lifestyle Community Group. Thanks so much for joining us here on our midday conversation. As you know, my name is Dr. Kyle, and along with us is Susan. She is a registered nurse. So again, if you guys have questions about anything we discussed today on our awesome interview with Susan, please feel free to post those questions in the chat below. We will get to those. You might have to click a link in the description for this video that allows you to post those questions. So don't be shy. Go ahead, just click that link, and then you'll be able to go ahead and post those questions. We'll answer those questions live here on the interview for today. And like I said, please go back, scroll through the group here, and find the video that we did with Susan a couple weeks ago, all about the nutritional, lifestyle, the cognitive factors that influence your immune response as it relates to the COVID-19 vaccine. So I wanted to bring Susan back on today to talk to us more about the COVID vaccine because it is such a broad and relevant topic for today. So thank you, Susan, for your time. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thanks again. Well, I'm going to go ahead, Susan, and start into one of the articles that we're trying to look at today. And then I know you have lots of things that you want to get to here as well. So I'm going to go into a little share screen here, and I hope people can kind of follow along with us for the moment. I'm going to actually go to this one here to start with. Now, in the office, Susan, I've been getting a fair amount of questions about the COVID vaccine. And as it relates to, okay, doc, what are your thoughts and how can I properly prepare for the vaccine? How can I properly prepare my body for the vaccine? So I do want to submit this article to you guys here in the Family Wellness Lifestyle group. This is an article from, as you can see at the top here, the Metagenics Institute, which is just a wealth of qualified, credible information that is just really good for the everyday individual. And so one of those questions that I've been getting a lot here, Susan, relates to everything surrounding messenger RNA and how this COVID vaccine is different. And so I wanted to direct people's attention to this article, like I said, this blog post from Metagenics. We will post this link in the comments in the video here below. But this is a really good article that goes through about 5 or 6 questions here that really, and then an infographic at the bottom here as well, that really answers a lot of those practical questions that people are having. So I wanted to really address with you, Susan, specifically number 2 here, because I've been getting this one here a lot at the office, okay? So I've been getting a lot of questions regarding how is the COVID vaccine different from traditional vaccines? Because vaccines have been around for a long time. They've saved, thousands and millions of lives. The concept of a vaccine is something that I'm on board with as a concept. But so I'll just go ahead and read here verbatim. Traditional vaccines contain either a weakened or inactive form of a virus. Okay, so that's a traditional vaccine, which is different from the COVID vaccine. So the difference with the mRNA, which is a code, an acronym for messenger RNA, ribonucleic acid, messenger ribonucleic acid, is that they deliver the mRNA, which gives instructions to the cells to produce viral proteins. Okay. So in the case of the COVID vaccines, the messenger RNA, and I'll have a caveat here as well. What we're talking about here, families, this specifically relates to the Moderna and the Pfizer vaccines. So I know you guys have questions, and I know you guys are aware about the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. We will get to that. But what we're talking about right now is specifically the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccines, which are mRNA-based vaccines. So we continue. Okay, so these give instructions to our cells to produce viral proteins, okay? So what happens is they produce pieces of the spike protein unique to SARS-CoV-2. Our immune cells recognize these spike proteins as foreign and initiate an immune response to develop antibodies. So that's the whole goal of the vaccine here, guys, is to really increase or mount an antibody response. You want to form, synthesize antibodies to COVID without actually infecting yourself with full-on COVID. Okay, so it's kind of like training your immune system, training your body to recognize COVID and mount that immune response. And then, like it says here, without posing any risk of infections. Okay. So the whole idea is so you get the COVID vaccine, either the Pfizer or Moderna, and then God forbid you are exposed to, your body does get exposed to a brand new raw infection of the virus out in the wild, let's say. So then your body would be able to mount an immune response, an antibody response based on that exposure. So that's the whole mechanism behind the mRNA vaccines. Anything to add to that, Susan? Does that kind of track and make sense?
That it was a perfect explanation. So that's exactly what we're trying to do. The difference is with this mRNA technology compared to the one in the Johnson and Johnson, which you said we will get to, is that this virus, the mRNA technology, uses the genomic sequencing of the virus. There's no actual live virus that's entering. It is just an incomplete protein that gives your body the message to say, the next time you see this, I want you to recognize it, so then it can't make you as sick as you would get the first time that you were exposed, because it generates then what are called T cells and B cells, or memory cells, so that the body will recognize that again, and then you will not get the long-term effects. And that's the, in my opinion, the dangerous thing about getting COVID versus getting the vaccine. We now know that up to 80, the statistic is actually 85.9% of people who get COVID have some type of long-term sequelae or long-term effects. And it doesn't seem to matter whether you had a mild case. It doesn't seem to matter how healthy you were. We don't know if there's a genetic component to it. Obviously there is. At this point, it's kind of the, the unluck of the draw. But people that have been very healthy athletes who are no longer able to be athletes anymore. So we don't know how this virus will affect us long term. And in many cases, people suffer some of the cardiovascular effects and the respiratory effects because of the lung tissue and the fibrosis that can occur in that. So you are not going to get the virus from getting the vaccine. It does not change your DNA. It just gives your body the message to create the memory cells so that the next time it will recognize it.